Do you like wrestling trivia? Then check out the 5-Star Match Game, the Pro Wrestling Quiz Show. I'm Joe Gagney, and every episode, I grill 3 contestants with 5 rounds of power-packed wrestling trivia. We have over 30 evergreen episodes in the archives covering WWE, AEW, Japan, Mexico, and much, 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 much more. Play along at home and check it out today.
Do you love wrestling? Do you love all elite wrestling? Make sure you check out The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. My name is Tyler Fornes, and my co-host Fred Moreland and I discuss all the happenings of all elite wrestling across the universe, including when they make trips overseas. We talk about Dark, we talk about Rampage, we talk about Dynamite, and everything in between, including Tony Khan and his both brilliant and confusing booking. Make sure you check us out. We drop our shows on Thursdays to make sure that we keep up with Dynamite and make sure we give you all the current happenings in all elite wrestling.
The Louisiana Swamplands. Out here, you're either lunch or you're enjoying it. Make sure you end up on top with the all-powerful lineup of Kia SUVs, like the Telluride, Sportage, and Sorento, equipped with available all-wheel drive, higher ground clearance, and the interior capacity to bring everything you need, so you'll always remain more than a gator's length ahead. Visit your local Kia dealer today to find your next adventure in our ever-capable lineup of SUVs. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-3334-KIA for details. Always drive safely.
When you download the Kroger app, you have easy access to savings every day. Shop weekly sales and get personalized coupons to get the most value out of every trip, every time, whether you shop in-store or online. Download the Kroger app now to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Must have a digital account to redeem offers. Restrictions may apply. See site for details.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Welcome to Jumping Bomb Audio.
And welcome back to Jumping Bomb Audio, the #1 show all about the world of Joshi Pro Wrestling. My name is Taylor, and I am joined as always by my very good friend and co-host, Kelly. Kelly, happy show number 82.
Happy 82. Can I commemorate this occasion with a quick PSA to our listeners?
Sure.
All right. Guys, if you have any of your old toys and they got a battery in them, you should take that battery out. Because yesterday I found my old Bop It. Oh, and just had blue crystals all over it because the batteries inside exploded, and now I can no longer bop it.
Oh, it doesn't even work at all?
Well, it's covered in battery acid, so I don't want to try it.
All right. Fair enough.
So if you don't want your Bop It to end up like mine did, take the batteries out.
Well, that is a good PSA to get us launched into this show. We are going to be talking about Stardom Flashing Champions. We're going to be talking about the announcement of most of the entrants into the 2023 edition of the 5-Star Grand Prix and much, much more. But before we do that, of course, we got to get in the plugs. If you're not yet following us on Twitter, please do so at JBombAudio. You can follow Kelly at Comic Geek Kelly, and you can follow me at Taymambo. Subscribe to us on your podcast app of choice to make sure you never miss an episode. And if that app of choice happens to be Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate a 5-star rating and review. And if you're feeling extra generous, you can donate to the show at redcircle.com/shows/jumping Bomb-Audio. So let's get right into it. Stardom Flashing Champions from May 27th at the Ota City General Gymnasium in front of 1,759 fans. Kelly, what'd you think of this show?
It was all right. I don't know. It wasn't much going on in this show besides the main event. Other than that, it kind of happened. We watched it. What about you? How did you feel about it?
Felt to me like an aggressively fine show. I think
yes,
is
very much so.
what I would call it. You'll probably notice as we go through a lot of these matches, I don't frankly have much to say. I think the undercard was mostly uneventful. The
I didn't have anything break 4 stars on this show.
I had one thing break 4 stars. But I won't give away which match it was. And I had another one which was close, but everything else probably would have been right at 3 1/4.
Yeah.
Just not a lot. Felt like a show where they needed to get the main event in there. They were going to draw with the main event, and everything else they were just sort of like, oh, okay, do this.
Go kill some time.
Yeah. So we will dive right in. The first match I did not see, and I don't think Kelly saw either, was the pre-show three-way match. Recently returned from America, Momo Kogo, fresh off her defeat to Willow Nightingale in the New Japan Strong Women's Tournament. Use that momentum, or whatever. I guess when you lose, you don't get momentum, but use the experience to defeat Lady C and Saya in 4 minutes and 44 seconds. Neither of us saw this match, so good for Momo Kogo.
I bet that was the 4.5 star match on the show.
Yeah, a star for each minute that the match went. It's like, wow, this is good. Wow, this is even better. Hanging on the edge of your seat to see who will come out in this battle of Stardom Titans between Momo Kogo, Lady C, and Saya Ida. But the first match proper was a tag team match. The team of Rebel and Enemy, Maika Ozaki and Ram Kaichou, defeating Shuri and Aya Sakura in 9 minutes and 41 seconds. I guess I'll just start off this way. I thought this was a nice match. Thought it was interesting to see Maika get the victory here, and it seemed at the end like they were possibly setting up a Shuri Maika maybe singles match or something to that effect. But I thought a fine kickoff to the show. I like seeing Maika Ozaki here because I like her. I think she's very talented, and always good to see Ram. Other than that, not too much to say.
I really liked this match. I thought it was a super fun opener. I thought Siri brought like a good just energy to this match that you typically don't see like this far down the card. Just really good action throughout. Like I went 3.5 on this. This was probably one of my favorite matches of the whole show. I was really high on this show starting here. I was like, hell yeah, this is gonna be great. And then the rest kind of happened.
Well, after this match, we got the announcement of the 5-star Grand Prix. Last year, there were 26 entrants in the Grand Prix. This year, there will be only 20. Only 18 were announced here. The extra 2 to make 20 will be decided June 18th. But announced as already in Mayu Iwatani, Hazuki Utami, Azumi, Saya Kamatani, Natsuko Tora, Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe, Julia, Maika, Shuri, Mirai, Amisore, Mina Shirakawa, Tom Nakano, Natsupoi, Saori Ano, and Suzu Suzuki. So Saori, the only brand new entrant into the G1. Some notable non-entrants. I put together a little list. Kogama Hanan Mai Sakurai, Miyu Amasaki, Tekla, Mariah May, Momo Kogo, Saki Kashima, and Saya Ida. You would assume that some or all of those wrestlers will be in contention for the final 2 spots. Not in from last year, at least as of this point. Hanan, Himika, of course, now retired. Koguma, Momo Kogo, Risa Serra, who was in. Tekla, who technically was in, then got injured and was replaced by Momo Kogo. Unagi Sayaka, no longer with Stardom. Mai Sakurai and Saki was the other entrant. Kelly, if you had to guess, who do you think makes up the final 2 spots here in the 5-star Grand Prix?
Probably Saki Kashima, just because you need your Yano in the tournament. You need someone that can just roll up anybody and you just accept that it happened. And then I'd probably put Mariah May in there.
It's tough. Only 20. I mean, I think Momo Kogo probably has no chance.
No.
As someone
Saya Ida has no chance.
Yeah. As someone who only made it in last year because Tekla got injured.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to come down probably to Koguma. Well, because it's like Mai Sakurai was in it last year. Hanan was
Every
in
time I feel like they're like high on Mai Sakurai, suddenly they're just like they snub her from something huge. So I assume she just won a title. So now I assume this is where she gets snubbed. It's very weird how they book her.
But we'll have to see. But I have to say, I am appreciative as someone who thought that the 5-star Grand Prix last year was very long. To see less, and I think a lot of times people are like, we need even more, and like more than 26 would have been crazy.
Yeah. Please don't.
Yeah. But I'm like, 20, that's a nice number. 10 and 10. Happy to see Sayori get in.
Yeah.
I think she'll have a lot of good matches. I mean, it's a very strong field. That's the thing. Another thing about not squeezing every last person in is now this field, I mean, with the exception of really, to me, one person, and you can take a guess who that would be. It's a pretty strong field. It really is the best of the best. And, with 2 more people, probably adding at least one other person of note, I would assume between Koguma, Tekla, Mariah May, one of the 3 of them gets in, I would think.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And when we get closer to that, we'll, of course, have our usual preview of all the matches and all the entrants once we know them. The next match on the show, however, was a 6-person tag team match. The Queen's Quest trio of Hina, Saya Kamatani, and Utami defeating the Oedo Tai trio of Rina, Ruaka, and Starlight Kid in 6 minutes and 47 seconds. It was pretty short. That was my main note. Thought it was a pretty standard match. It seemed mostly there to advance this rift between Saya Kamatani and Utami, with Saya getting the pin and then Utami staring her down in the post-match, which I found weird. Like, I get they're running with this sort of dissension line, but it was funny because I saw the pin, I was like, okay, Saya won, and then I saw Utami staring her down, and I thought, wait a minute, did Saya lose?
Yeah, I had that same moment.
Because I was like, why would she be staring her down? I guess she would be staring her down if Saya like got rolled up and lost, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So I guess Utami's just mad that she didn't get the pin, but she was holding Starlight Kid back.
Yeah, the post-match does not match the result.
So just a bit strange there. The only other note I had is there was Saya had a little bit more red hair, Starlight Kid wearing a red mask. So I was like, oh, a lot of little changes of gear and hair here. Other than that, don't really have much to say.
Yeah, I don't have much recollection of this match. It was fine. It wasn't bad in any way, but it was a little undercard match.
The next match was an 8-person tag team match. The Stars team, Hanan, Hazuki, Koguma, and Mayu Iwatani defeating the Club Venus team of Jesse, Mariah May, Waka Tsukiyama, and Xena in 12 minutes and 45 seconds. The match opening with the Koguma, Mariah May anti-sexy interactions, which have been happening a lot on the house shows, I guess house shows, if you want to call them the local shows. Pretty much to a T.
I would like to declare today no sexy, and hope it works out for me as well as it did for Koguma.
Kelly, I don't appreciate you trying to prevent me from being my usual sexy self on this on this podcast.
No sexy. Only bear.
Yeah, so that is a lot of fun. One other note I have is that Xena, I guess her nickname now is A Touch of Thunder, which is a phrase I don't understand. What does that mean?
You just you hear a loud noise and you're like, a touch of thunder.
Oh, a touch of thunder, that seems like someone, like a rich aristocrat sitting in their house.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, what's that terrible noise outside, Jeeves? And he's like, oh, I should just say a touch of thunder, sir.
Jeeves, fetch me my moonlight dream.
Like, it's not like, is it supposed to be tough? Like, oh, she's a touch of thunder here.
Maybe? It's a very
Or is it just one of those
nickname.
things where it's a Japanese thing where they think of just some English words and put them together and are like, this is a thing?
Entirely possible.
I would think it would be like, you would want to be a lot of thunder.
Yeah.
Like, I'm bringing the thunder. I'm bringing all the thunder.
Like
not
the
just
thunderclap.
Yeah, not just a touch of thunder.
Yeah.
That seems like just a little.
I'm a whole grip of thunder.
I'm a whole, or like thunder and lightning.
Yeah.
Anyway, I thought this was fun. That's all.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty well paced. It wasn't anything great, but I really enjoyed this match. It was fun.
The next match was a 6-person tag team match. The interesting trio of Maika, Mei Sierra, and Suzu Suzuki defeating Hanako and Nanae Takahashi and Yuna Misamori in 12 minutes and 3 seconds. A good win for this interesting trio here of Maika, Mei, and Suzu. Thought the finishing sequence was really the highlight of the match. Thought they really picked it up near the end. Other than that, another one that I thought pretty standard.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked both these trios. I thought they worked well together, so I hope we see more of them. I thought Hanako continues to impress. I thought she did really well here. But yeah, no, a decent match. I went like 3.5 on it.
Kelly's favorite rookie, Hanako, who he knows very well.
I know who she is now.
And can recall all of her matches that she's had.
Though I will say, when she came out, at first I thought she was Ami Soreee, and I was very confused because I'm like, wait a minute. Did she take out the extensions? Hold on, she's not supposed to be in this match. What's happening here?
The next match was our first of 4 title matches. The high speed title, Saki Kashima winning, defeating Azumi and Fukigen Death when she pinned Fukigen Death in 5 minutes and 28 seconds to win her first singles title and dethrone the long reigning champion Azumi. Kelly, I'll let you go first.
I liked this. It was a solid little match. Definitely not a top tier of Azumi's title run. Maybe it might be the worst match of her title run, but hey, it was still pretty good. So you know what? That's all right. cool to see Saki get her singles title. She seemed very happy about it. My favorite part was afterwards when after Rossi handed her the belt and started to walk off, and she's like, "No, motherfucker, we're taking pictures. You're standing right here. We're taking pictures." I enjoyed that quite a bit. Even though it was planned and like not a botch, that fall that Azumi took from the top rope to the floor looked super scary. I thought for sure she was getting hurt on that. But yeah, overall, decent enough match. Another 3.5 stars for me.
I had the same note about Saki crying post-match as Rossi wanders away, and she's like, no, come back here. I thought this was super fun. I went 3 3/4 on this match. The thing sort of taking it out of the match, incredibly stupid. You have a champion who's made double-digit defenses, very strong champion, and her reign ends with her not getting pinned.
Yeah.
And like this sort of three-way thing happens when you're very early on. Like now you're like, wow, you have a really strong champion. You could have someone beat her and look really good and be pumped up, like May Sierra, which didn't happen. And now it's just like, well, what was the point of her winning so much if she's just going to lose it, not be involved? Like, this feels like booking 101 to me. To be like, you have a strong champion. They've got to lose the title, or you want them to lose the title. So the person who beats them is going to get a big boost. And now you're like, oh, okay, no one beat her.
My guess is that they did that because they want to move her on to something else and don't want her to lose, but also wanted her to not have that title anymore. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she challenges Tom for one of the titles in a little while.
It just seems like so, I don't know. It just sort of ended, and I was like, this is how the reign ends, with her outside of the ring, like not doing anything, as one very low card wrestler pins another very low card wrestler.
But I mean, this is just Stardom booking.
Everyone's it's the Stardom booking of no one can lose, of course.
Yeah,
flipped around
except
in the main
for
event.
Fukigen Death.
And flipped around in the main event in a very weird way, which we'll get to in a second. But it's just like, oh, you've totally wasted this title reign. You know, it made Azumi look good, although the promotion clearly doesn't really give a shit about this title. So how good did it make Azumi look?
Yeah.
You know, winning this title so many times. I mean, I think it was good just because Azumi went out and was like, I'm going to have good matches every time.
Oh, yeah. That definitely helps the prestige of the title. And now it's just going to be wacky comedy matches, which, you know, that's fine, I guess. But it undoes a lot of the good work that Azumi did.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, good, you know, good for Saki. She's very happy, you know, winning a singles title, very well deserved. But it's just one of those things where, you know, when we talk about, oh, the booking, and people, you know, say, oh, well, the booking, you know, it makes total sense and they need to do this, that. I'm like, this is simple, like basics of booking stuff to me.
Yeah.
Like, you have a strong champion, make someone else strong by beating them. Whether they go, you know, and if you're like, oh, they want to challenge Tom, well, they're not going to challenge them yet because we already know who the next challenger is. So just have them lose and have Azumi win one or two, you know, put her in a special singles match on the next big show against, who knows, someone, and have Azumi win. Like, it's not that hard. And it's not like people are, again, it seems to be a thought in Stardom where it's like, the minute someone loses, the whole crowd is going to turn on them.
Down the card you go.
And absolutely boo the shit out of them every time they, like, that's not going to happen. Like, Azumi is very well liked. And so it just is very annoying to me. And speaking of annoying finishes, the next match was the Goddesses of Stardom title match. The champions the New Era's Amisore and Mirai retaining their titles, defeating the Oedo Tai duo of Momo Watanabe and Natsuko Tora in 16 minutes and 51 seconds. I did note during this match, there was a lot of people going into the chairs on this show.
Mm-hmm.
They did it twice in this match. I think they did it once in another match.
There's a lot of people going on the chairs into almost every show I watched in the past 2 weeks. I think people are just real hyped that they're allowed to do it now.
There was a little Daichi abuse, which I thought Kelly would enjoy.
Always appreciated.
In this match. And again, it was a match where I thought, this is fine. At this point, nothing was really sticking out on the show. And the most important thing about this was, once again, every match that this New Era's team seems to have makes them look like sneaky heels. They win the titles on this count out BS. Now they're over here doing roll-up pins on, this Oedo Tai duo, which is frankly not that,
You got to keep Oedo Tai looking strong.
But it's like, are they ever going to go out and just like beat someone and just look really good? And the answer is, of course, no, because no one can really ever look really good out of the incredible fear that anyone could ever possibly look less than the strongest person you've ever seen in your life here. It's like, just have them come out and win. Not all this like, oh, we're getting countouts, oh, we're doing roll-ups, oh, we're, sneaking around. I'm like, this makes them look like chumps.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and then to make them even more like chumps, they were immediately forgotten about in the post-match when Queen's Quest comes out, and I don't know what they said, but it sure looked like Utami looked at them and was like, "Oh, you can go now. We don't need you for this."
Well, and there's an additional thing coming up which we'll talk about.
We've got to set up a match here, and it's not with you guys. So how about you leave?
Yeah, you're good, so you can leave.
Yeah.
As they did, and of course, then led to a pull apart brawl between Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai.
Yep. Gotta set up that cage match.
The semi-main event of the show was for the Artist of Stardom titles, with the Donna Del Mundo trio of Julia, Mai Sakurai, and Tekla defeating the champion Restart, Kairi, Natsupoi, and Sayori Ano in 18 minutes and 23 seconds to win the Artist of Stardom titles. My note was, I don't really have anything to say about this.
I didn't see the title change coming at all, so that was a big shock. And I thought the losers of the match sold the shock of losing very well. I enjoyed the interactions between Julia and Kairi and Julia and Sayori. Yeah, other than that, decent enough match. Another 3.5 stars.
Yeah, it was like 3 1/4. We often, well, not we often, we do this podcast every 2 weeks. And sometimes, with so many Stardom shows, it's just like, this is the show that I have run out of things to say for the moment.
Like, I messaged you yesterday and said, no matter a Stardom show, no matter how much I enjoy it, no matter how long it is, and no matter when I watch it, it always feels like I spent 8 hours watching it and it's time for bed by the time I'm done. And this is about the time in the show when I was feeling that.
See, I thought this show, I thought it went by, I thought it moved at a fairly good clip. It was just sort of nothing, it just sort of felt very, until the main event, felt very much like a small show.
Yeah.
Where they were like, okay, we're in front of a crowd of, 400 people. We got a couple title matches. Or like a Korakuen, used to be, where it would be like, okay, we've got a couple of smaller, big title matches, but we just sort of go out and they're like, fine, we're not going crazy, just get in and out and do our stuff and then leave. But anyway, after the match, the Anti-Sexy Gang came out to challenge the new champions for the titles.
Is that what they're calling themselves, or did you just?
No, I just made that up.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it was Koguma, Mayu, and Hazuki.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just wrote it down instead of writing Koguma in my notes. I just wrote Anti-Sexy Gang.
Yeah, I thought they became like the No Sexy Army or something.
I mean, maybe.
No Sexy Soldiers. There we go.
Yeah. NSS.
Hooty hoo.
And then finally, the main event, the double title match for both the World and Wonder of Stardom titles. Tom Nakano, the World of Stardom champion, defeating Mina Shirakawa, the Wonder of Stardom champion, to win both titles in 17 minutes and 43 seconds. Kelly, a shocking result.
I can't believe we live in a world where a draw was the preferable outcome for me. What the fuck? I don't want Tom to have both belts.
It's just so... It's so weird to me that on this show where they're like, we can't have Azumi getting pinned. We absolutely cannot have that. That in the main event, you have your new champion, she's had one defense, with Mina, getting pinned.
Handily defeated.
Like, what? Of all the times to not have someone be pinned, you're doing it all in the undercard, all these things. Roll up on Oedo Tai, Azumi not getting pinned, and then you're like, yeah, Mina, yeah, sure. She can be pinned in, under 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was just so weird to me, and I did enjoy I went 4 stars on the match, which I couldn't really decide at the end because I was sort of enjoying the match, and I was sitting there going, okay, it's going to go to a draw. So I was sort of watching it. I don't know how really invested I was because I was thinking, okay, we're going to a draw. None of these pinfalls matter. And then the pin happened and I was sort of like, oh, And then I had to figure out what do I think of this match? And I was sort of like, well, I did like it. I liked elements about it. Just the whole thing was very weird. I just didn't really understand it.
No, it's very strange. It really seemed like they were trying to do something with Mina, and then suddenly we're just like, you know what, maybe not. I mean, and now Tom has both belts for fucking whatever reason, and it's just like, hey, she's going to vanquish all of her enemies. It makes me wonder if she's retiring soon.
I mean, it makes Tom look great. She's got both titles. Only the second person ever to do it. Mayu did it years ago. But yeah, just very strange. I liked them. Like I said, I liked the match. I thought it was hard hitting. I thought Mina again was very good. Sad to see her lose the title. No, she won't have any more title matches now. I don't know. I also find sort of double title holders, there's times you sort of can do it or it just sort of happens that way. But now it's like, oh, you've lost. Well, I guess we'll talk about this. So Mirai came out at the end.
Yeah, the world's dumbest woman, Mirai, comes out.
To challenge. She says, I want to challenge. I think she said, I want to challenge for the Wonder of Stardom title.
Yeah. Sure did.
And Tom is like, why don't you want to challenge for both of the titles? And I'm like, she's right.
Yeah.
It's like, it makes Mirai look stupid.
Yeah. Because, like,
It's
what is the logic that she's like, all right, it's the white belt, so Tom will be easier to beat because she's not going to try as hard as she would with the red belt. It's like, that's not how this works.
But there's an easy thing, have Mirai come out and say, you know what? I won the Cinderella tournament in back-to-back years. People don't do that. So I deserve a shot at both titles.
Yeah.
Because that's how good I mean, it's that easy.
Yeah.
Instead, she comes out and once again looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
When she's like, I want that title, and Tom is actively going, well, that's stupid of you. Why would you do that? It's just so it's so weird to me.
Really stupid. It's the same thing as when I was getting all mad about Saki having her title shot and just being like, yeah, I'll just use that on the high speed title. It's like, fucking shoot for the moon. Go for the top belt. You have the chance. Do it.
For the Millers, movie nights were once tradition. Now Sarah could hardly get through the opening credits, not on that old couch. But one day, while shopping on QVC.com, she learned La-Z-Boy recliners had slimmed down a bit. And in just a few clicks, Sarah got her La-Z-Boy chair and a popcorn maker and a soundbar by Bose. And with one quick trip to QVC.com, movie night and Sarah's back were saved. Shop QVC.com/podcast and use code QVC20podcast for $20 off $40 for new customers. This is shopping brought to life.
Stigmas around mental health were designed to hold us down, but we don't have to let them. If you're struggling, text or call 988 to connect with a trained crisis counselor who won't judge, just listen. 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Hope has a new number.
Meet the snack that has it all with 3 grams of fiber, 3 grams of plant-based protein, and real ingredients like nuts, fruit, and seeds for whatever your day has in store. Sierra Trail Bites, the nutrition-packed bites from Sunsweet.
So, well, I'll say this. It certainly was an unexpected show. And I don't know where they're going from here. So that's
Do we think Mirai beats Tom? Because I don't.
I don't know. Maybe.
Like, the only way it would work to me is if you have Tom also defend the world against someone either like the day before or the same day, so she's got the exhaustion, and then you can have Mirai win that way.
Yeah.
But like, I just don't see Mirai anywhere near on Tom's level to be able to beat her one-on-one in the singles and see it as like a viable thing.
And of course, if she wins, she would be a double champion because she has the
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just very strange to me.
And maybe
Feel bad
maybe
for
we'll
Mina.
get the classic draw.
Yeah. I mean, Mina now is like, what happens with Mina? Someone who won and now is like, nah, you won, but whoops, accidentally, you got too big for your britches after one title defense. Like, whoops.
We know you're the leader of a unit, but you know what? Who cares about that unit?
Where were your women? Where
were your women, Mina?
Where are your women now?
What's Mariah May gonna do to turn on you? She can't even cost you the title anymore. You did that yourself.
So that was Stardom's Flashing Champions. Before we get to everything else that has happened in Joshi in the last 2 weeks, we want to tell you that today's podcast is brought to you by the Bet Stamp app, which is helping thousands of people win at sports betting for free. The same way travelers use Google Flights or Expedia to find the best prices, bettors can now use Bet Stamp to do the same. When you place a bet, the odds given by a sportsbook will determine how much you can possibly win. Even when betting on the same outcome, different sportsbooks will offer varying payouts, and these differences can be huge. Thankfully, BetStamp allows you to easily line shop for the most profitable odds across all sportsbooks. You can click on any matchup and instantly see all the different odds for game lines, player props, and even futures bets. Line shopping is the simplest way to find an edge in sports betting and maximize your chances of winning long term. On average, BetStamp users win an extra $1,000 or more yearly just by line shopping. You can find the BetStamp app on the Apple iOS Store, Google Play Store, or through your browser at www.betstamp.app. To access all these benefits, sign up using promo code VOW. That's promo code VOW, and start your journey to successful sports betting today. And if you forget to use the code upon sign up, you can always enter the code in your BetStamp account settings afterwards. So check it out. That's the BetStamp app. So let's keep going. What else has been going on in the world of joshi? SEAdLINNG had a show on May 25th. Kelly, I know you watched that show and very much enjoyed one match in particular. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yes, I watched the Asuka versus Riko Kaiju match, and this absolutely ruled. I do actually still need to watch the rest of the show. I just made sure to make time to block out to watch this specific match before we recorded. This match was awesome. Asuka was just the perfect bully here, beating the hell out of Riko and busting her open, and Riko was just gushing blood. It was a lot. Just fantastic story match, really just brutal stuff. I went 4.25 on it. I loved this match. Definitely check it out.
Yeah, I haven't watched the show yet. I didn't get to it in time, unfortunately, but I did see pictures from that match, which looked very cool. So I am definitely looking forward to going back and watching that after we finish recording.
Yeah. Oh, just remembered. I have one more note from Stardom before we move on to other stuff. There was something from the broadcast that they teased a little bit more about the Mayu movie that's coming out. SAREEE is going to play a major role in the movie apparently and play Mayu's friend. And there is going to be a Rossi Ogawa character in the movie whose name is going to be Gussie Oguchi. Gussie.
Wow, I didn't catch that when I was
Gussy.
Is that related to Bussy and Thrussie?
I'm not sure. He might be like their promoter.
American GCW units, Bussy and Thrussie, and now Gussie. Which you can determine on your own what that stands for.
Yeah. Coming to a theater near you.
Now, is this character going to wear a lot of hats? That's really all I care about.
I hope so. Gussie definitely wears hats. I hope he wears it's just a different kind of hat. It's like a top hat or something.
Oh, you want him to look really fancy, like a fancy...
Yeah, or maybe a cowboy hat. I could see a cowboy hat too.
I was hoping it would be like a stack of hats, like in the children's book, Hats for Sale. You know, the guy who wears the big tower of hats.
And the recurring bit is, everyone just says, Gussie loves hats.
Oh, that guy? Yeah, he's big into hats. And, you know, he goes to sign someone, and he says, well, I have to take my hat off to you. And then he has to reach all the way up to the top to take the top hat off. Very high stack.
Always catching it on doorways.
Trying to get in the ring. Imagine him trying to get in the ring with a stack of hats. Maybe he'll be
That's
very...
Mayu's first job in wrestling is she follows him around and picks up all the hats after he knocks them off on a doorway.
I just want to see the big stack of hats. I want this to be the actual Rossi playing Gussie.
Yes.
And he has a big stack of hats. He goes to get in the ring. He's like, well, I can't go through the ropes, and does the, agile, like, hop over the top rope just because I want to see Rossi do that.
Oh, see, I was thinking the Big Kev step over the ropes.
Okay. Yeah. Where you, like, crotch yourself on the rope as you're going over, just to protect the hats. It's all about the hats. And the final thing is, Maya will go into his office and she'll say, oh, I don't know if this wrestling stuff is for me. And he'll pound the desk and he'll go, no, the only thing I love more than my hats is wrestling. Or something like that.
I also wanted to say, like, she needs something, like, notarized or something. And he's like, oh, I can do that. And she's like, really? And then he goes, oh, I'm a man of many hats. If Rossi doesn't play Gussie, I want Rossi to be played by Beat Takeshi of Takeshi's Castle fame and various other movies and directing work. I think that would be a great prestige actor to play Gussie.
It would be great just to have it be a very serious movie.
Yeah.
Unless Gussie is on the screen.
Yes.
In many ways, like Stardom is.
Yeah.
Where it's a very serious promotion, and then Rossi comes on the screen and Saki Kashima has to yell at him to stay in the ring.
He's eating carrots, acting like they're spicy.
Well, if anyone working on the movie is listening and wants to hire Kelly and I as punch-up writers...
Oh, yeah.
No. I would assume Japan has a different writers. They probably... Do they have a writers guild in Japan?
I don't know.
So I guess it would be okay. We wouldn't be breaking the picket lines to be doing punch up on the Mayu movie.
But you know what? Point. I would be a scab to do this. I'm not gonna lie. You let me. No one would be like, hey. No one would blame me for wanting to insert all of the Gussie Oguchi jokes that I have. Like, you just can't blame someone for that.
Crossing the line for Gussie.
Yep.
And then we keep laughing about Gussie, but I think Oguchi is...
It's...
maybe the funnier.
It's the wettest sounding name I've ever heard.
It really is, yeah. It's the sound like when you drop a wet bag of groceries on the ground. Oh man, you dropped those? Yeah, you made a big Gussie Oguchi over there. All right. Well, I can't believe we did this in the middle of the show, because now just going back to the shows, we're going to seem so pedestrian. Tokyo Joshi had their Hyper Misao produced Hype show on May 25th. Unfortunately, it was, I believe, just put on Wrestle Universe shortly before we are recording this. So I haven't had the opportunity to watch it. I did see a lot of pictures. They did portraits of much of the roster in Hyper Misao gear. Kelly, I don't know if you saw those.
Yeah, it looks very fun, and I'm also excited to see like Mega Heels, Rika Tetsumi, and Arisa Endo.
Also, will say that Mocha Miyamoto was one of the people in the Hyper Misao gear, and not happy. Well, am I happy or not happy to report this? Looks better than her regular gear.
Oh, 100%.
Literally, I'm like, anything you would put her in at this point, I think I would be like, oh, this is so good.
Yep.
Just because it's better than whatever the heck
curtains she's wrapped in today.
Yeah. Also on the 27th, they had the Yuki Kamifuku Homecoming show. happening. Asuka was on that show. Asuka, who's good friends with Yuki, and also, as we talked about previously, Aja Kong also on that show. So a smaller show for them, but still fun with some special guests. Also, we should briefly discuss, not really relevant all that much to the world of Tokyo Joshi, but Saki Akai has announced she will be retiring in November. Saki Akai, of course, only wrestled not too frequently in Tokyo Joshi, only a handful of times here and there, but will be missed. And in an unrelated note, do you think they'll ever bring Mei Suruga back?
I hope.
They booked her one time and then haven't booked her since. Once or twice.
But then she got some Stardom bookings, too, around the same time.
That is true. And Miyu Amasaki was supposed to appear on her 5th anniversary show and then had to pull out.
Yeah, so I don't know what's happening with that.
I don't know. I never know. I just assume that everyone who shows up in Stardom is eventually going to be signed.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about in a second because someone else new is showing up on one of the shows, and I thought, this is interesting. But yeah, Mei Suruga, Tokyo Joshi should bring her back.
Definitely.
An unrelated thought I had to the retirement of Saki Akai.
Yeah.
But Saki Akai will be very missed, of course, and we'll see what happens.
She should go to France and meet her favorite wrestler, Saki-sama. Well, now that she'll have the time.
Come back to Japan.
Yeah.
What else was happening? Sendai Girls had a show on May 26th, as did Diana. That Diana show on the 26th had Lady C in a main event tag match. She was teaming with Miran in a losing effort to Haruka Umasaki and Naname on that show. In Wave, there's been more Catch the Wave happening. Unfortunately, they once again, for a second week in a row, caught me off guard where I thought they had uploaded 2023 matches and they were just more 2022 matches. Which is very funny in a way.
Gotcha.
If you think about it. Also happening, there were 2 produced shows. The first one, the return of SAREEE to Japan at her SAREEE-ISM show. That show main evented by Chihiro Hashimoto defeating SAREEE in 23 minutes and 27 seconds. But the standout match for me on the show was the tag team match, Akari and Arisa Nakajima defeating Ibuki Hoshi and Miyuki Takase. That was the match. You know, I thought the main event was very good, but felt very much sort of like SAREEE getting back into the groove and not necessarily the sort of all-out bangers that Hashimoto and SAREEE had before she left. But the tag match I thought was really good, hard-hitting, fast-paced. So worth checking out. Kelly, did you see this show?
No, I kept meaning to watch it, and that slipped my mind.
Well, the other produced show, which I know Kelly did watch, was the Hana Kimura Memorial Show Pinx, which featured a main event of Aja Kong teaming with SAREEE, defeating Mika Iwata and Mio Momono in 19 minutes and 48 seconds. Thought the main event was the highlight of the show. I went 4 stars on it.
I went 4 1/4. I thought that match rocked. And another match with people getting thrown into chairs.
That's right. Also on that show, there was a 6-person tag match. Asuka, Natsupoi, and Syuri defeating Death Yamasan, Konami, and Rina. There was the 4-way tag team match. A singles match between Minoru Suzuki and Sakura Hirota, dressed as Hana Kimura. the typical battle royal for these shows, which was summer beach themed, which was won by Jaguar Yokota, who sort of cheated because she came out late. But we'll let that one go.
She gave it the old Miz.
Yeah. And Saori No defeating Miyuki Takase. So a very fun show. And of course, with the closing montage like they usually do. But Kelly, there were also some other shows happening that I think you watched. Why don't you tell us about those?
I watched the PPP show from the 16th, the Party Banquet. This was in Kirkin Hall. I think this is the first PPP show I've actually watched. Like, I've always meant to watch their stuff, and then eventually it just falls down the watching list until it's like 4 months later, and I'm just like, what's this? And then I dump it from my queue. But it was decent. Rina Yamashita defeated Ichika Miyabi. Marika Kobashi teamed with Abdullah Kobayashi to beat Momoko Hanazono and Takayuki Ueki. And the Rebel and Enemy team of Maya Yukihi and Ram Kaichou and Maika Ozaki defeated Chan Yoda, Natsu Sumire, and Makoto. I believe it was announced after this that Chan Yoda is taking some time off from wrestling. But that was a good match to go out on for her. I went about 3.5 stars on that. One thing that I really wasn't prepared for was that through most of the matches, music plays. So it feels like at times my brain kept telling me you're not actually watching a match, you're watching like a clip show thing. You're watching a music video. It's like, no. This is a match. Focus on that. So that was weird, but there wasn't any music in the tag match with the deathmatch guys because there was audible comedy that had to be done, so you couldn't have music playing and not hear Ueki tell the entire audience to put their hands up when he pulled out his gun. Yeah, fun show, just like an interesting environment because they had on the back normally where like the stage is in Kurikan, they had tables there and people were sitting at them, and I assume they were like the VIPs because they had women there like pouring them drinks and stuff and cheering like there was like a host club. It was very interesting. different kind of show. Also a different kind of show was Bakugaijin and Friends Volume 5 from the 23rd. The opener for that was Chris Brooks defeating Hyper Misao in one hell of a match. That was a crazy match to put on your opener because we saw staples, fireworks, plastic bins, lemons, and more I probably forgot about being used. So it was about as crazy as you would expect from those two, and it was super fun. I went 4 stars on it. Also on that show was Mei Suruga and Mao defeating Chie Koshikawa and Hagane Shino in a very good match, and the main event with Drew Parker and Masahiro Takanashi, while not Joshi, is worth watching. And then the last thing I've got to talk about is the Prominence Gaiden Akane Fujita debut 10th anniversary Orange Spirit Burning Streak show. The main event was a best 2 out of 3 falls death match, where Akane Fujita defeated Risa Sera 1 fall to 2. Yes, I know that doesn't make any sense. Risa got the first 2 falls, won the match, and then Akane was like, whoa. Double or nothing last fall, and Risa agreed to that, and then she lost. Yeah, very fun match. As you would expect between these two, eventually the match devolved into a game of baseball.
Classic.
Yep. Always does with those two.
Well, that was everything in the last 2 weeks of Joshi, but what is coming up in Joshi in Stardom? Stardom has their next New Blood show, New Blood number 9, on June 2nd. Saida and Hanan will take on Kohaku, and Ruaka Kohaku showing up here in Stardom. Waka Tsukiyama and Sexy Dynamite Princess will make her return to take on Ram Kaichou and Maika Ozaki. Hanako and Aya Sakura will take on New Era's Mirai and Ami Sourei. Nanae Takahashi will have a passion injection match with Mai Sakurai. Miyu Amasaki will take on Azumi. There will be a Future of Stardom title match. Rina will defend her newly won title against Lady C. And the main event will see Bloody Fate, the team of Starlight Kid and Karma, defend their tag titles, their New Blood tag titles, against the Anaba sisters, Tomika and Azusa Inaba. So that is the New Blood show. Then on the 4th of June, Stardom will have a Korakuen Hall show, which will feature 2 generational struggle matches. The first one will see Waka Tsukiyama, Mai Sakurai, and Lady C take on Miyu Amasaki, Hanako, and Aya Sakura. And the other one will see Tam Nakano, Mayu Iwatani, Shuri, and Julia take on Utami, Sayaka Matani, Maika, and Suzu Suzuki. So 2 interesting matches there. Oz will have a show on June 11th. Nothing announced for that yet. Tokyo Joshi has Stick Out coming up on June 11th. Announced for that show is a tag title match. The Magical Sugar Rabbits of Mizuki and Yuka Sakazaki will defend the tag titles against Rika Tatsumi and Miyu Watanabe. Kelly, do you think Magical Sugar Rabbits retain their titles?
I'm gonna say no. I don't think they do here.
So you think we have a new double champion moving from Mizuki to Rika?
Oh yeah, shit. There still is a double champion problem. Ah, fuck. I guess, yeah, why not?
All right. Also coming up, Sendai Girls has a show on the 11th with 2 title matches. Chihiro Hashimoto and Yu, Team 200 kilogram, the tag champions, will defend their titles against Mika Iwata and Miyuki Takase. And Asuka will defend her Sendai Girls title against Manami. In Ice Ribbon on the 4th, they have 2 title matches. Makoto and Hamako Hoshi, the tag champions, will defend against Kari Shimizu and Fuho Matsushita. And Totoro Satsuki will defend the Ice Infinity title against Michiko Miyagi, formerly of GLEAT, formerly of Stardom, formerly of Sendai Girls,
Sendai.
and now in Ice Ribbon. Diana will have a show coming up on June 4th. Wave will have 2 shows coming up, one on the 1st, one on the 11th of June, both of those featuring Catch the Wave matches. And Kelly, what is going on in Choco Pro and Gotta Move?
So Gotta Move is having the Meisuruga 5th anniversary show on the 29th, so chances are by the time you listen to this, it will have happened already. In the main event of that one, Meisuruga takes on Momoko Hanazono, who was originally Miyu Amasaki, but I'm not entirely clear what happened there. Why she got pulled or if she's hurt or what. Have you heard?
I don't know if I heard the official reason. I know she was pulled because also this show is listed on the Stardom calendar, which is now a bit strange because the match with the Stardom talent is not happening. Hold on, let me...
Very strange.
Hold on.
But
keep
also,
talking and
while you're looking, also on that show, for the Super Asia title, there's a 3-way between Hagane Shino, Balian Aki, and Monero Fujita. And then in a other kind of passion injection match, Ryo Mizunami takes on Miyu Yatsuba in a match that should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to that one. Overall, looks like a fun show. Can't believe May's already been doing this for 5 years. That's kind of insane.
Yeah. Well, the Stardom website only says due to the absence of the match card has been changed. We are very sorry to all the customers and related parties who were looking forward to Miyu Amasaki's match.
And she's working that New Blood show, so maybe she's not hurt. Weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to scroll now through Twitter.
Mio, how dare you no-show May's 5th anniversary?
Oh, it says withdrawing due to illness.
Oh.
That's what the official reasoning is. So, well, on that note,
could be a little bit of touch of COVID.
Maybe, don't know. Couldn't say.
Because that would make sense for it to be like, all right, we know for sure this amount of days out she's not going to be able to do it. So if like that's still in her quarantine period or whatever, that would make sense. But who knows?
Who knows? But that is everything happening in the next 2 weeks of Joshi. Kelly, I throw it to you for your usual closing segment.
All right. This coming Wednesday, the 31st, Shin Kamen Rider is playing in theaters across the United States. I definitely recommend going to check it out. It looks very good. Support Tokusatsu getting official releases here in the States. And if you don't have the chance to see it the 31st, I believe they're also doing showings on the 5th. And it looks like they did open up a bunch more theaters, so there's more opportunities to see it. So yeah, definitely check it out. Directed and written by Hideaki Anno of Neon Genesis Evangelion fame. And it's a take on the classic Kamen Rider series. Trailer looks awesome. So yeah, just get excited. Kamen Rider time. Let's go.
Well, there you go. Go out and see that. And that is all for us for this edition of Jumping Bomb Audio. So we will talk to you again in 2 weeks' time. Farewell.
Goodbye, everybody. Remember Gussie.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, we talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.
Music. It's not just part of our daily lives, it's part of our wrestling fandom as well, and it has been for decades. That's where this show comes in. Music of the Mat, the podcast devoted exclusively to the music of pro wrestling, hosted by Andrew Rich. Hey, that's me. Each episode delivers a different topic with a variety of great guests, fun conversations, musical analysis, and of course, a heartfelt pun or two. New episodes drop every other Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast app of choice. Check out Music of the Mat only on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network.
The following is a message from the future, sent by Jamie from Progressive.
Back in 2023, you could get help from Progressive online, through our mobile app, or over the phone. But here, in the future, we can communicate with you through telepathy. Now, I don't think anyone in 2023 has mastered telepathy yet, but if you have, then you can totally read my thoughts right now. And yes, I did leave the oven on. Wow, you're good at this.
That was a message from the future. Get the help you need today with Progressive.
Do you smell smoke? I really should go.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers.
At Kroger, we know the minute a tomato is picked, the fresh timer starts. The sooner we get our produce to you, the fresher it is. That's why we've shortened the time from harvest to home for our tasty tomatoes, strawberries, and salads. So no matter how you shop, you have more time with your fresh produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.